I've been on YouTube for over 5 years now. I've made 500 videos, and I asked you guys what you thought some of the best videos were for reviews, personal 10 lists, other projects, the biggest mistakes, and changes you would like to see. The votes have been counted up, and while there wasn't as many as I would have liked to have seen, I'll make the most of what I've got. In addition to that, I'll be making the 10 videos I'm most proud of later on. But first, we'll start with your list, and we'll begin with the category that got the lowest amount with only 96 votes, the mistakes. This was actually a 5-way tie. Each one only had 2 votes each. Let's read them off and see which one could actually be considered a mistake. Number 1, the audio quality in the collabs. I'm using a Turtle Beach headset and I don't really hear any problems, but if that really bothers you guys, I might have a way to fix that problem in my future videos. I said might, I haven't tested it out yet. Number 2, guests in the co-reviews. If you're referring to the Ocarina of Time co-review, then I definitely see where you're coming from, especially if you're talking about 2 of the guests. Looking back at that video, I should redo it. Hey wait, it'll be 15 this year! Maybe I'll do it with the Pushstar crew. This one is short. Apparently 2 people voted for the What's Your Opinion video on PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, though they didn't really say anything specific, so I'm going to ignore it. The 4th one kinda makes me laugh. Talking over the first place entry in the Sonic Stage music list? I think those 2 votes were just kind of picky. I would have talked during the whole thing if I didn't have finals at that time. The 5th one is the one I count as a mistake, your opinions may vary, and that's slow pacing in the older videos. Yep, nothing can kill a video faster than having the pace of a video be either very slow, confusing, or if you bring up something that would just stop a video dead in its tracks. I think the only things I need to support my argument are just the older videos I have up. If you want to look at them, go ahead, but I can't stand to look at some of those older videos anymore. They just disgust me. Moving on to the 4th place entry that had 4 votes is that some of my older videos are under private. I don't see this as a mistake, to be honest. I just see this as more of a request. As I just said, I can't stand to see most of my videos I made back then, but the ones under private are the ones I plan to redo because I really want to redo them. They deserve better, you deserve better, and I will make them better. The only places those private videos have left to go is deletion for good. Now we're talking. Since the Super Mario Galaxy 2 review, I've been using scripts for nearly every video I make. Before that, however, nope. In fact, the best I did was just outline the key points of what I had to say and try to talk about them. Yep, at only 5 votes as not having a script in my earlier videos. Let me just say, I was a fool to do that. I really thought I could just talk off the top of my head for a review or a list, but that was really stupid of me. Trust me, if you want your videos to be better, use a script. Take the time to think about nearly everything you want to say. Plus, it will help you remember some points so you won't forget them. I learned it the hard way after 2 years. Don't make my mistake. With 7 votes at 2nd place, we have what was simply called my older reviews. I couldn't really find any details in the comments about this category, but I can think of some. There was no structure, there were too many audio problems, sometimes there were black screens, I didn't really bring up the important information. In short, they were horrible, and it only confirms that I should keep them under private. I know that makes some of you upset, but I really feel it's for the best. Trust me, you're not missing a thing. The biggest mistake you guys voted for at 11 votes were the pauses I made in my earlier videos. There were just so many short and long pauses between nearly everything I said, not to mention the stuttering. I made Porky Pig look like a public speaker. I was truly pathetic back then. I can honestly admit that. The good news is, if that's the biggest mistake you guys thought I made, then it looks like the worst is behind us. Still, I would have thought you guys would have voted for some of the more obvious mistakes, like how I thought there were over 50 islands in a 7x7 grid in Wind Waker, or some of the optional characters weren't optional in that list, or my constant misspelling and pronunciation of words. I'm disappointed by that, guys. Oh well, let's just move on to the next category. With only 149 votes total, the changes. Yeah, it's another tie, but what can you do when it's by votes? This is a 4-way tie with each one only having 4 votes each. Have more than 10 entries in the personal 10 lists, an intro for the videos, more Forbidden Fruit videos, and more time to plays. More than just 10 entries is something I've been tempted to do in the past, but having only 10 really helps me focus on just those entries and can help me get them done much sooner. So sorry, but that's probably not going to happen. For the intros, well, I've at least been doing them for the reviews. but I just don't think I'm going to do it for the personal 10 list. I just don't see the point. I can understand why more people want the Forbidden Fruit videos, but I need you guys to understand something. I need to feel motivated about what I'm talking about before I can make one. All of those were made because I had a strong motivation to make them. A sort of inspiration, and inspiration doesn't make appointments, so I can only work on those when the criteria to work on one has been met. As for the time to plays, well, I could always use more filler, but I'd rather focus more on lists and reviews. If I do more of them, then during that game session I would only upload maybe 1 or 2 time to play videos a week. In fact, the next time to play will either be Sonic the Hedgehog 1, Donkey Kong Country Returns, or Sonic Colors. But it'll probably be DKCR since I've been itching to play that again. I can't believe this only got 5 votes, but apparently only 5 people wanted me to do more portable reviews. I'm guessing they really want to see reviews for the 3rd generation of Pokemon. Before, I couldn't do them because I didn't have a Game Boy player. Well, that isn't a problem anymore, though there still aren't a lot of handheld games I'd like to review. As for DS and 3DS games, well, I might actually order that 3DS with the capture card built in, but don't get excited just yet. I haven't earned enough money to write it off as a tax exemption yet, so when my videos earn that amount, it might just happen. Plus, I could use a new 3DS anyway. My L and R buttons no longer function properly, and even the volume doesn't work correctly. So, yeah, if you guys really want those DS and 3DS reviews, then you have to watch my videos with the ads. Yes, you can skip them if the option comes up, of course, who wouldn't do that? 3rd place is a tie with both changes I can handle. 6 votes for more non-Nintendo reviews, and 6 votes for Keep Screaming to a Minimal. I'll definitely do some PS3 reviews. The first one might be Sonic Generations, PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, or Portal 2. You know, whichever one gets done first. For Keep Screaming to a Minimal, I've already started working on that. I'm not taking it out, but I always forgot to turn the audio down on those parts. Whoops. As you may have noticed in the Skyward Sword review, it shouldn't be an issue anymore if I handle it like this, right? That's what I thought. I've been getting this a lot lately, and I'll tell you right now, it's probably not gonna happen. With 9 votes, the second biggest change is, you want me to show myself. Sorry guys, that is not going to happen. I want to be known for my opinions, not my appearance. Showing myself just doesn't feel like it would help out my videos at all. The closest you will get is my me, and that's all I plan to show you. Ticked off? I can understand that, but don't let it get to you. It's not like it's the end of the world. With 10 votes, the biggest change you've wanted to see is more guest speakers. Considering the fact that I still have to work on those collaboration lists, which, by the way, I'm very sorry to those I'm doing them with since I just haven't been able to focus on them for some time. I'm very sorry for that. Having others join me in the What's Your Opinion videos, and hopefully getting some others in the Time to Plays, it was a change I was making before you even voted for it. Man, I'm good! And with that, we're on to the next category. With 170 votes, it's time for what you voted as your favorite other projects. At 5th place with 11 votes is the What If They Were in Brawl videos. It was a little series I did for fun with the concept of, what else? What if they were in Brawl? The idea was to take a character who had one, if not a few similarities to another character, make a stage for them, and put in some music. In all honesty, I made the series just to make use out of the custom stages in Brawl. Can you believe that? I was going to end the series with only 3 videos, but it turns out a lot of people, not just the ones who voted, wanted to see this series continue and started sending in some requests. I believe I was able to make about 4 more videos because of that. Hey, I want to make you guys happy. To the best of my abilities, of course. At 4th place with 13 votes, we have the music tracks for the next Smash. The idea is simple. Find out what other tracks could work in Smash Brothers. When I first started, it was just me and the computer at level 9, but that got boring, so now I added all 9 matches with friends. Before, I wasn't able to take requests because I wasn't sure if I could find the music tracks for them, but now it's not a problem and can take requests for just about any franchise. So far, it seems like the only ones who are sending in requests are Big Boss Man 538 and Raven King Sage. Thanks for keeping this series alive, guys! With 31 votes, yes, we're finally getting some big numbers, we have the Forbidden Fruit series. The concept for this series is about talking about an idea that is possible, like Mario Paintball or Banjo-Kazooie remakes on the 3DS, or ways to improve or enhance certain franchises like Star Fox or Zelda. These videos take a lot of thought, preparation, and most importantly, a strong sense of inspiration and motivation in order for me to make one. In other words, I can't make these as often as I'd like, as inspiration, you've heard this speech before. I still think the funniest thing is making the Mega Man 10 video, and then 5 days later Mega Man 10 was announced. Nothing from that video was put in the game, but I still find the timing hilarious. At second with 39 votes we have the What's Your Opinion videos, the video that lets you, the viewer, have your opinion be heard. Before it used to be on certain topics, what you wanted in Kingdom Hearts 3, Rare's downfall, your favorite Zelda story, but now it focuses more on the current topics such as the 6th generation of Pokemon. It's not surprising that these videos get more comments in 1 week than any other video I make. Going through all those comments and hand selecting the ones to talk about is exhausting, but in the end, it's worth it. And now with the inclusion of guest speakers, it's only gonna get better, as long as we can all meet up together at the same time. I wasn't quite sure how to count this one because every one of them got a vote, including the main series. So I counted them all up, and apparently with a combined total of 42 votes, we have the Time to Plays. In all honesty, I'm not sure how this got so many votes, but whatever. The one that got the most votes was the Time to Play from Mega Man 1, and I'll be honest, I felt that actually was my best time to play, but sadly making these isn't my strongest ability. Hopefully I'll be able to add some guests to this, and that will make things better. Alright, now we're getting to the good stuff, because next with a total of 305 votes, it's your favorite reviews. At 5th place we have a tie. With 16 votes each, we have the F-Zero GX review and the Redo review for Banjo-Kazooie. F-Zero GX was somewhat of a challenge for me. I couldn't really find a way to make it as comical as the other reviews, so I decided to take the other route by making it one of the more detailed reviews I've done, by going over the Triforce arcade system, the custom racers, and the insane story mode! Once again, a special thanks goes out to SBO Thief and Elite Ferrix for being in the multiplayer footage. The redo for Banjo-Kazooie was actually a difficult task. I had nearly 6 hours of footage to go through, and the review itself took about a month to get done. While there's still some pauses here and there, I still like to think that this review covers just about everything I wanted to talk about, which is almost everything in the game and around the game. At the time, this was considered my most in-depth review of a game, and based on my reviews that came before it, it's easy to understand why. The one thing I'm actually proud of the most in this review is the transition of dialogue between segments, such as the items and how they relate to the characters you meet in the game, or talking about the similarities between this and Mario 64 that actually leads to the few negatives about the game. On an interesting note, this review as well as the other Rare games I've reviewed have been featured by the user NostalgiaGamer86 who has used them in his Rare retrospective videos. He didn't ask for permission, but he did credit me, and because of how incredible those videos are, I can't help but feel a little honored. You should really check those out if you haven't already. With 17 votes at 4th place, we have the Sonic Genesis games, featuring reviews of Sonic 1 through Knuckles. If you haven't seen them on my channel, that's because they're one of the few exclusive reviews I've done for Push Start, but don't worry, you can always see it on their YouTube channel. This was actually going to be the longest review I would have done at around 28 minutes, including the credits. Sadly, at the time it was uploaded, it had to be cut up into 2 parts, and the credits were taken out and used for another video. Still, this review was quite a challenge to make. However, I do feel a bit ashamed of it at some points. Why? Well, in these reviews, you could see some similarities to some Call Me Johnny's reviews. I have to admit to that because it's true. Nothing was stolen from the reviews, and I always use my own footage, but some jokes are very similar. This became a big reason why I don't check out so many other reviewers and countdown makers for fear of repeating that action. I'm just glad this was the only video to feel like this. I don't think the reviews are bad in any way, shape, or form, and I had a lot of original moments, but I can't help but feel a little embarrassed by that. At 3rd place with 19 votes, we have the Pokemon Colosseum review. I actually thought I would get it done quickly. How wrong I was! It took a few months after the votes for that video were counted up and was around 14 minutes! But I guess in the end it was worth it. A number of you guys really loved the Hyper Mode jokes, ditching the Klinger, and how evil Team Snag'em really was. I actually feel very proud of this review, but sadly, I have no interest in picking up XD, as I've got way too many other games to play and review. Sorry guys, but at least there's plenty of content on the way. Pokemon Black 2 took the 2nd place spot with 20 votes. Yes, it beat El Colosseum with just 1 vote! The first handheld review I've done for a Pokemon game was quite the challenge, and if it wasn't for my brother and his wife letting me borrow their camera, this review never would have happened. This review also shares 2 similarities with another review I've done, Mega Man 10. It had a background, and it told the viewers what segment the video was on. I even went one step further to talk about the EV training in the game, which some of you were very grateful for. I'm just glad the footage from the camera turned out as well as it did. The only way the footage can get better is if I earn enough money for a 3DS capture card. Ugh. This review. With 22 votes, you guys voted for the Epic Mickey review. Or as I like to call it, the review that took the longest to ever make, and it still pains me to look at it because of all the grief I had to go through to get it done! Why is that? The script itself took about 6 rewrites and nearly 4 months on that alone. Then came the time crunch. How many remember when I went to South Korea for my brother's wedding? Yeah, I had to get this review done before I left so I wouldn't have to worry about it. The editing process was already a nightmare as there was so much detail to go into, and I had to make sure I had the right footage for it. Which is normally not a problem, except my brother borrowed the game over Christmas vacation and took it back to South Korea with him. Uh-oh. It was compressed and fully uploaded to PushStart the very second I left for my flight, at 4 o'clock in the morning. And even after it was uploaded, I had to do some readjustments for it when I got back. This review haunted me for so long. But I guess it was worth it as you guys, the ones who voted for it, say it was my best review. It's the longest single review I've done so far and covered nearly everything in the game without spoiling it, with lots of Disney jokes thrown in for good measure. And it's one of the 2 reviews to have a blooper reel at the ending with a reference to Freakazoid. It's hard for me to look at this review the way you guys do, but I'm at least glad you guys liked the suffering I went through to get this review done. Don't count on that again. And now we can move on to the last category. With 395 votes total, we have the Personal 10 lists. At 5th place, we have a tie with 18 votes each. The 5 Mario and Sonic platformers list, and the One More Try moments. Since Mario and Sonic started off as rivals and are still 2 of the biggest platformers out there, it made sense to have them share this list. This video probably has the most montage moments I've done for a list. Some memorable parts have to go to the thumbs up, thumbs down joke, and the Koopa Troopa exploding. I have seen 2 questions repeatedly asked in the comments, and I'm going to address them here. Where would Sonic Generations land on your list? Tied with Colors at 2nd place. Which do you like more, Galaxy 1 or Galaxy 2? That is something I'm going to answer when I finally do my favorite Wii games list, which I have no idea when I'll finally get around to making that highly requested list. As for the One More Try video, I just find it funny that once I announced I was making that list, people just kept asking what did I mean by that. After watching the video, everybody finally got their answer, and I'm sure it was a list that many people could relate to. It was about those special moments in games where I failed and kept saying one more try because I was too stubborn to quit. This was also the first time a Fire Emblem game made it into my list, and the fans went wild! It also gave Sin and Punishment Star's successor a little extra notice, a game you should have played by now and I should have reviewed a long time ago. Gotta get back to work on that. With 21 votes we have another tie. See folks, this is why you should vote. The hardest DKC levels list and the Killjoy list. For the DKC list, oh man, that was a fun one to do. It was the first time I really started to show some enthusiasm for not only my list, but for my videos as well. The random glitch that killed me while I was recording was just too good not to be used. Sometimes the best things to happen are the unscripted events. It was the best way I could think of making a list in honor of the release of Donkey Kong Country Returns, and I'm glad it turned out the way it did. As for the Killjoy list, someone actually sent in a comment for me to use. 493 Pokemaniac V2 wrote in a PM, Killjoys, how relatable your list was. I felt like someone understood how some of these things just ticked you off as a player, and I can really sympathize with the video maker, more so than any of your other videos. Thank you, sir, that's exactly what I was going for. At 3rd place with 23 votes, we have the first collab list I ever made. Our list of the 5 most useful and useless classic Mega Man weapons with Mr. Orange Jinjo. Nobody saw this collab coming, and I wanted to keep it that way as a nice surprise. Doing a collab list takes a lot longer for me to get done, but it can be so much fun to do. While we still get questions that we already answered at the beginning of the video, I thought we did a good job with our picks and reasoning, not to mention the jokes. You know which ones I mean. Hey Mr. Orange Jinjo, I know you're watching this. I need to stop being so busy so we can do that commentary on the video. Or a sequel, you know, whichever comes first. At 2nd place with 24 votes, we have the second collab I ever did with Animal Guy and the 10 enemies we love to hate. The longest 10 list I have ever done without question was one where I tried to put in as much quality as possible into the video. By the time the script was almost done, we thought we could upload it in celebration of Wreck-It Ralph. Man, did we miss that date. The video was met with constructive criticism, which is always greatly appreciated, and people who just couldn't find one nice thing to say. Whiners. But hey, it seems that we were successful in making a list that a lot of people liked, and at the end of the day, that's all that matters. It was awesome hearing Animal Guy do his Gruntilda rhyme, and I had a lot of fun doing the infomercial bit for King K. Rool. The whole idea was just to have fun when making the list. The other idea was to interact with each other by playing off of each other's lines of dialogue and jokes from previous videos. I feel that a collab list is at its best when those involved are not only talking to the viewers, but to each other. Orange Jinjo and I did this as well, but by a single vote, you guys like this one more. Animal Guy, I'm sure you're watching this too. Take what I said about Mr. Orange Jinjo and apply it to you as well. At first place, we have... another tie? Ah! Who didn't vote? You don't get a thank you at the end. Well, with 29 votes each, we have my 10 favorite Nintendo franchises list and the 10 characters I would like to see in Super Smash Bros. 4. Hey look, more voter quotes! Spaghetti Bicycle wrote, I love the fanboy rant impression at number 4. Personally, one of my favorite moments from your videos. And from, oh look who it is! Mr. Orange Jinjo commented on both of them. For the Nintendo list he wrote, the list was handled very well, had some nice jokes here and there, and it had a few surprises as well. Mario at number 8? Which I found kinda nice. And for the Super Smash Bros. 4 character list he wrote, you had good entries and did a good job elaborating on why you'd like to see the characters playable in the next game, as well as what would work for movesets, etc. You also kinda gained points for debunking the arguments about Ridley and K. Rool. 493 Pokemaniac V2 also wrote, no other list, and I repeat, no other list has made me replay any game I could find with some of those characters such as Mega Man and Bomberman to think of possible movesets and fantasize what those characters would be like in a Smash game. Heck, I've probably annoyed you with how many comments I posted on that video showing some of the move possibilities. Sorry about that, but hopefully that proved how excited your list made me. What do I have to say about these videos? Spoiler alert, you'll find out in the next video. Because with that, your list has concluded and mine will start, hopefully soon. I'm very sorry, but I ran out of time to include my list, so next time, you'll see the 10 videos I'm most proud of, as well as the thanks to those who voted. So keep your eyes open for this video.